everyone and welcome to a new video. Today I am filming my May wrap up where I did Asian readathon for the whole month and I read 34 books which ended up on 12,145 pages. I don't know, ever read that much in a month before. I actually don't know. Maybe the month I read 39 books once, but I don't remember how many pages that was. This is insane! I don't know how it happened. It just happened. It was readathons, etc. I did final book support group for a week, and I also did book couple-a-thon for a weekend, doing those Asian as well. Let's share my thoughts on all these books. Obviously not as thorough as I would like, because I'm not gonna sit here for a billion years. It's 34 books. Okay, so let's do this. The first book I read that month was Out by Natsuso Kirino. This one I read for the first book to Fave's vlog I did, where I read Cecilia Reed's favorite books. And this one was the next one. I will leave that link down below if you want to see it. I'm doing more in that series, don't worry. This one basically follows 4 women in this factory and they all plan to do something together, which includes hiding away bodies. And it's a good ride. I thought it was going to be like scary and spooky, but it was more like humoristic and thrillerish, I would say. Definitely a good ride. 4 out of 5 stars, I think I gave this one. More thoughts in that vlog. Then I read A Tale from the Time Being by Ruth Oseki. This one is also for the same vlog, and this basically follows 2 storylines. We have Ruth, who finds this journal where she reads about this girl's life called Nao, who lives in Tokyo, and Nao is just going through a lot of shit and she's just trying to figure out her life. And we have Ruth trying to figure out like if she was even alive, trying to find her, trying to see if she's okay. It's like references to the tsunami in 2011 and other parts of the story. It was a nice book where as I was mostly interested in Nao's life, didn't really care about Ruth, and I was really wanting her to be okay. But it was a solid book. I didn't like completely love it, but I did enjoy it. I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I don't actually remember. Again, more thoughts about that book in my vlog. So after that, I started on the actual Asian readathons prompts, which was 5 of them, if I believe correctly. The first prompt is, as always, just read any book by an Asian author. And for that, I read You Reach Sam by Dustin Tao. I have a full review on that on my channel, so again, more thoughts there if you want it. But this one basically followed the main character, Julie, who was in really love with her boyfriend Sam, who then died, and then she needs to deal with him being gone. But then when she calls him on like a impromptu, I want to talk to him kind of way, he answers and they get the chance to say goodbye again, but will they be able to? This is a beautiful story about life, on losing someone and just the loss of that, and just, you know, the sadness of that, but at the same time being able to say goodbye and closure and sorrow. But yeah, I thought it was a beautiful book. I really did enjoy it, and I think it managed to send a message it wanted to send pretty well. So again, I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Mostly 4 out of 5 stars here, because I always think 3 is too little, 5 is too much, so 4 it always ends up on. Again, we'll leave the link to my review for that down below. The next challenge for Asian Readathon was to read a book where the main character was a woman who was older than you, or like an older woman. And for that I read Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. This one follows Keiko, who doesn't really fit in. She still just works in a convenience store. She doesn't want to really do anything else about her life, and everyone around her is like, well, you're not going to do anything else. Are you not going to like have a husband, a proper job, etc. And it's just basically her trying to say, hey, I am happy with this, but then trying to fit in society's standards of what you're supposed to do with your life at a certain age. And this really spoke to me. I'm in a time of my life where it reminds me a lot of the main character, where I think I really enjoy the feeling of the book telling you it is okay to do what you want, even though it doesn't fit the standards of society. It also had like really dark humor and like seriously hilarious parts where I laughed out loud at work, and just like some parts they're like, this is not okay, but we're just like rolling with the vibe. And I love the vibe in this. It really spoke to me in a way that I felt that book haven't spoken to me in a long time, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars because it's really a favorite book now. And I don't know if I would have rated it that highly if I had been in another point in my life, but since I am, 5 out of 5 stars. Then the next challenge was to read a book set in a different universe than yours, or a universe you want to be in. And for that I read The Ivory Key by Shah Raman. This is full of 4 siblings who are like the princess and the princesses of this land where magic is dying, and they're trying to get it back. But then all the 4 siblings really do want different things. One of them is ruling. 2 of them kind of just don't want to be there, and the 4th one is in prison at the time when it starts. And I do think the setup was nice, and it was an interesting world woven in with Indian folklore, etc. But I also think it was a bit underdeveloped. I wanted more about the world. Some of the characters kind of blended in together where they wanted so similar things, but in kind of different way that wasn't like explored enough to make them blend together. But yeah, it was an overall like entertaining YA fantasy, but not my favorites. But I could recommend it on, and I am gonna of course read a sequel because that's how I work. And I did like enjoy parts, but not my fave. I wish just more family moments, more flashback of how they used to be, more of this book, but the ideas was nice. I don't remember if I gave it 4 stars, but maybe 3.5, maybe even 3. What are star ratings anyway? Then the 4th challenge for Asian Readathon was to read a book with a really stunning cover, aka Googling Ice, and for that I read An Hour to the Moon by Emily X.R. Pan. This one is news released by the author, and it is basically a Juliet and Romeo retelling filled with romance, magic, and Chinese mythology. I always just read that when I talk about it. So basically actually it's set in our world with magical realism aspect. We find a Hunter and Luna who both are from different families, and then their family hate each other, but they meet and like want to have a thing. Not just want to have a thing, they get a thing. And then it gets like a bit obscure and a bit like, life, beautiful, magic stuff. And I was like, how this book started, how the book ended felt like 2 different worlds. And I guess like that's also kind of how magic realism works as well. But I was also like a bit put off by it. It's written beautifully and there's a beautiful story there, but I didn't like love it to pieces. I liked the ending, but I also felt like the book needed to be a bit different for the ending to work completely for me. So I don't know, 3.5. 4 seems a lot, but I've probably given 4 on Goodreads. I don't even know. And last challenge for the official Asian Readathon challenges was to read a book that was highly rated. And for that I read All My Rage by Sabata here, or a book that was highly recommended. And this one is obviously the news release by one of my favorite authors. It follows different characters that I now need to look up. We follow Sal and Nur, and they both have really struggling lives. Sal's mother is really sick, and Nur is struggling wanting to go to college, but her uncle doesn't want her to. And they both have all these things going on in their life. I don't know really how to describe the plot because it's not much of a plot. But just knowing that this book is seriously depressing. It was seriously so sad. I didn't expect it to be so sad. I was like, wow, depression really came, huh? But it was really beautiful. I really did enjoy it. It was a book that was sad but filled with hope as well. But so many sad things happened to the characters, and I was just like so stressed out about it. But you were really invested in the story and wanted them to be okay. And you know, I did expect Saboteur here to bring trauma because have you read An Ember in the Ashes? Truly not the book I expected because I thought it would be a bit more cheerful, but it did have hope and like happy moments, of course. But yeah, it was just generally a really sad book. Okay, I rounded this up to 5 stars because I think I'm giving it like 4.75, so it might as well just be a 5-star read. Truly though, it was really good, just sad. So now I was done with the official Asian Readathon challenges. I did of course read a manga here and there as well. So I'm just going to talk about those before starting off our book support group. So I read Flying Witch Volume 9, which basically follow Makoto, who is a witch in training, and she goes into the countryside and lives there with the family. And there's like slice of life stories with witchy and magicness, and it's really cute. So I read that. And now I only have 1 more volume until I need to wait for the next one to come out next year. I also read A Girl from the Other Side, Volume 10 by Naga Bea. This one is second to last volume overall, and it basically is at this world where we have the outside where like people can get cursed, and there's like these cursed monsters going around, and then the inside where the humans live, and they try to avoid the curse at all costs. And we have Shiva, who lives on the outside and is human, but she doesn't have a curse yet. And then the story develops from there. We truly got some revelations in this, and I'm like, dang. So we shall see what we get in the last one. It's literally called Revelations. Lol. Don't read the back. Don't read what I just showed you. And then I read Demon Slayer Volume 8, and this one is by Koyoharu Goto Uga. Finally continuing this after a long break. Couldn't get a hold of volume. Was it Volume 8 I couldn't get a hold of? Or was it Volume 7 I couldn't get a hold of? It was either of those. Continuing the story of Tanjiro, whose whole family is killed by demons except his sister's turned into demon and is trying to find a cure by becoming a demon slayer because they work really close with demons and then maybe can find a cure for the demonism. And it's just like so good, so good, so good, so good. Love it to pieces, and so excited to just continue this wonderful manga series. One of my favorites. Then I did Final Book Support Group, where I read 5 Final Books in a week. So the first one I started out with was Night of the Dragon by Julie Kagawa. This one concludes the Shadow of the Fox trilogy, and this one is set in this world where every 1,000 years there's this dragon skull that you can wish upon. You can get any wish in the world, and then 1,000 years goes, people split the scroll into pieces, so it will be harder to get it when the 1,000 years came arriving. I don't know the words for it. But yeah, the 1,000 years is upon us in the first book, where Yumeko, who is one of the main characters, who is also half kitsune, in one of the temples that protects the scroll, and she has one of them, and she's trying to find all the pieces, so like someone else won't get them. And then she meets a samurai who's really hot, and another people on the road is full of Japanese mythology creatures you meet, and just loads of great parts, and here we wrap up the story. I really did enjoy the ending. I think it was really beautiful. I like almost cried on the last page because I thought it was really nice. I liked the battle. I liked how it concluded. It was a fun ride, whereas I do think the first book is superior to the whole series. Still enjoy seeing the series, and I would recommend it a lot, and I think I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read Our Violent Ends by Ko Gong. This one to conclude the These Violent Lights duology, which is the Juliet and Romeo retelling set in Shanghai in 1926. And then this virus comes out, which made people scratch open their throats and then kill themselves. So Jules Juliet is her name, need to work together with a Roma who is from different mafia gangs in Shanghai, and work together to find out what is killing their people in the first book. And this one started out like really similar to the first one. I'm like, am I reading the first book again? But then it really diverged from that, and it was a great time. It truly did go places I didn't really expect it to go, but kind of I did. And it was a fun duology. I did enjoy it. And I'm excited to read Five Lady Fortune, which seems to follow one of the characters from this story. And I'm excited to meet her there and see what else Chloe Gong can deliver in this world. And I think I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read Crimson Rain by Amelia Wan Chao, and this one concludes the Blood Heir trilogy. And this one basically follows Anastasia, who loses her kingdom in the first one and needs to get it back. And she has like blood magic as well. And everyone has different affinities in the world. Or not everyone, but the people who do have it. And the last few books has just been about her getting her kingdom back. But yeah, this one was really boring. I didn't really enjoy it. First like 200 pages, nothing happened. And then we just concluded the story. And it goes exactly where you think it will go. It's not really any surprises. Not really lots of fun. The concluding story that I have expected by now from certain series, like go in not expecting a lot in series finals anymore because they can't really deliver what I want. But it's not like I hated it, I just like didn't love it. I did like the first book, okay, it's not like my favorite or anything, but I could recommend it, I guess. But yeah, I concluded the story now and I'm fine with it. But yeah, I think I give like 3 out of 5 stars. It wasn't like super fun because it was kind of just predictable the whole way through. And then I read Star Church Stories by Varshney Chakshi, which is completing the Star Church Queen series because this belongs to those. And this one does have 3 short stories set in the world. And the first one is The Lord of Death and the Knight Falling in Love. The second one is an FF story following like a apprentice becoming the spy master. And the last one is basically a tale of a wedding between certain characters that you have met before, if I'm not incorrect. And I think Varshney Chakshi writes beautiful stories in general, but the short stories really has those fairy tale-esque feel you want, and it was just truly a stunning book. I especially liked the FF story. The second one was my favorite, and I had a good time. And I finished the series, which you know was the whole point of Final Book Support Group. But yeah, glad I read this now, finally. I think I gave it 4 or 5 stars. And then the last final book I read for Final Book Support Group was The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. This one concludes the Quest Continent trilogy, and you know, it follows different characters in our book, but they do all like know each other in a way. And this one follows Anna, who's a violinist who has met a blockade of wall, a creative block where she can't really play anymore. Then her boyfriend decides to go in an open relationship, and she decides, okay, if he's gonna go on banging other people, then I might as well too. So she meets Juan, who is looking also after a one night stand, and they try this over and over. They fall in love. It's not really a spoiler. And there's just other things in Anna's life that she's dealing with a lot from her family, and I just felt so bad for her. It was a really sad seeing her disregarded the way she was, and I wanted to cry. It really got me in the sadness of the story, and I really loved the romance and how supportive they were of each other, and just so many parts of the story that I enjoyed. It was sad, but it was really good. The first one is still my favorite, and the second one now my least favorite, but I still just really like this, even though it had quite like awful little sadness over it. But yeah, a cute romance, but like a bit more sad than I would thought it would be. Like, I thought it would be more fluffy. But yeah, definitely good. And 4 out of 5 stars. And glad I finished this. I'm very excited for Holland Huang's future books. Then I read some other things. I actually read All My Rage after this. But then I read another book as well while waiting for Bookathon to start. So then I read Kiss and Tell by Abib Corham, and this one is news released by one of my favorite authors as well, and this one follows this boy band, and we follow Hunter. We had another book when the main character was named Hunter in Hour of the Moon. I was confused, and he's the only gay member of this band, and he's like feeling he deals with a lot of scrutiny because of this, like targeted in a certain way because of this, and he's just like, please leave me alone, I just want to chill. And then he also just had a breakup that everyone knew they were together because he was dating like the twin brother of one of his band members, and then he starts dating this other dude in their warm-up band, etc. And I think there was a lot of nice, I was gonna say, commentary about like how media treats young people, how they are with like generally people who are famous and young people and queer people, how he can also come from a privileged position even though he's also, you know, in minority because he's queer, but he's also white. But also, I do think people were a bit disregarding of Hunter's feelings sometimes, because sometimes when he's trying to talk about his frustrations and things he's gone through, they were all like, oh, you're privileged, you're white. And I felt like that wasn't helpful in all these situations. But I think that is something to reflect upon as well, that it is important to call out people's privilege. That I also think is important sometimes to just also listen. That's just my thoughts on it. But I think it had like many different important themes you could talk about and discuss about, like positive sex rap and just like doing things with the privilege you have, etc. But also being a cute one. I do wish the romance was cut here though, I will be honest, because I think it made the story suffer more than just follow Hunter's inner journey and like figuring out stuff in his life. But overall, I did enjoy it. It's not like as good as Stars to Great. It's not okay in my opinion, but it is definitely a strong and solid book, whereas you can get a lot from it than just being like a fluffy cute contemporary. Not that there's anything wrong with those either, just saying that this had more to it that I would expect from Abib Corham. I definitely like that Abib had just like changed completely what he writes. It's not like the same at all, and I like the different vibes, and I'm just so excited for more books from the author. I think I gave it a really strong 4 out of 5 star, but not a 5-star read. But that is okay. It's okay that it was not, that was great, it's not okay. Then I actually read Promised Neverland volume 18, but I also read volume 19 later, so I might as well do them together, which means I have one volume left to complete this series. It follows these kids in this orphanage. They find out something about the orphanage. That's all I want to say. But we are far into the story, and I think in the last volume I was a bit like, it was fun, but I've been feeling like a bit turned off in it compared to how I felt in the beginning, where I absolutely like completely loved it. But I feel myself falling in love again. I really delivers now for the last few pages. I have kind of forgotten how many twists and turns it is. Like, there's always a twist, and I love them so much every single time. And now having one volume left, I'm absolutely terrified, but I do have a feeling it will actually go okay, which is kind of weird considering the story. We'll definitely like talk more about this when I actually finish it, maybe make a separate review. That's a good idea, Sandra. I should do that. Hype. But also sadness that is over. Oh yeah, on my birthday I cheated and just read a manga, even though it was time for manga. And I read Spy Family Volume 7 by Tetsuya Ando. I wanted to read a fave on my birthday. I deserve that. So, someone follows Masters by Twilight who needs to get an undercover family. He gets a wife who's an assassin, but he doesn't know. And a child who's a telepath, and she knows what they are, but they don't know she knows. It's a whole ride. It's the most hilarious, best thing I ever read. The humor's on point. I know the anime is out now and it's getting really popular because it's literally amazing, so I do get that. The moments here is just unparalleled. Just having the greatest time. I loved it so much. I had such a great time with it. I'm so excited for the next volume. It's very precious to me. Then Bookathon started. I have a full reading vlog on my channel for this. But basically, there was 8 drops, 2 drops every 12 hours. You don't know what the drops will be for the prompts. That's what the most exciting part of me. And I did it. I read 8 books in 48 hours and they were all Asian as well. So I did it completely. So the first 2 prompts we did know before the readathon started. That was to read a short book, which was a book under 300 pages. For that I read If I Had Your Face by Frances Shah. This one had like 260 something pages. And it basically follows these 4 women in Korea. And they all live in the same building and all dealing with like their life. It's kind of like a slice of life thing. where they're all dealing with different things. And then they kind of like bond together as well. And it was good, but it's not at all what I expected. It also had like commentary on beauty and stuff, because there's a lot of like characters in the book that take operations to be beautiful. I did enjoy it. It was interesting, but it was also like very fiction kind of thing, where like I didn't love it, but I was intrigued into the lives and like writing and setting and like the different things they went through. Definitely a lot of things to discuss in this if I was the type to discuss things with people. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. The next challenge was to read a book to do with gods, and for that I finished another series, but Ivory Key and the Nectar of Immortality, which is the final book in the Pandava series, and I'm sad it's over. But yeah, this one follows Ivory Key, who finds out that she is a demigod inspired by Hindu mythology, with lots of that is woven in, and just meeting the different creatures, going out on missions. It's the greatest time with the greatest characters. I miss them so much already, and I hope like more will come in the future if possible. I just loved it to pieces, and it's just such a great time with the series. So yeah, sad I finished it, but also happy because it was a good ride. And I gave that 4 out of 5 stars. And then the next challenge was to read a book, either ebook or audiobook, which kind of made me into a panic, because I had not planned that at all, since I had a lot of physical TBR. But then I found Patron Sense of Nothing on my Kindle by Randy Rebay, and this one is set mostly in the Philippines, where our main character's cousin has died, and our main character goes over to the Philippines to try to find out how he really died. And there's a lot about the culture there, a lot about him meeting his family and stuff like that, and it was really enjoyable. It was kind of, I think, like definitely inspired by like things that's actually happening in the Philippines, so it was kind of educational in that way. And I did enjoy it, and I did enjoy like the story and the characters, etc. So I gave it like 4 out of 5 stars. And the next challenge was to read a book with a color in a title. And for that I read 6 Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. And this one followed a main character who gets cursed, and then she can't speak, and people don't know who she is. She's also a princess, and she has 6 brothers who's all turned into cranes, and she needs to figure out how to break this curse. I really enjoyed it. I had a great time with it. I really liked how the story was set up, the twists and turns, just invested even in the romance and the setting, and just everything about it was just fun and nice and chill, and I really just enjoyed the vibes in it. Yeah, I'm really excited for the sequel. I'm really wondering how that will be, because I just love all the things that was woven in this, and I just had such a great time with it. I was actually surprised how much I enjoyed it. But yeah, 4 out of 5 stars. So the next challenge was to read a spooky book, and for that I read, if I can even find it, where is it? Here. All These Bodies by Kendra Blake. This was like a mystery thriller kind of book. It follows Michael, who lives in this small town, and then there's this bunch of murders that has been going over state lines for a little while, and then it ends in his hometown, where this 15-year-old girl is found on the scene, and she's suspected of having done it, obviously, because she's found there, which is like, how could this girl have killed all these people? And the only one she wants to confess to is Michael, our main character, which is a bit weird, but whatever. And then we try to find out like what is real, what is not, who tells the real story. It's basically just either she's crazy and murder people with someone, or there's vampires. There's like your 2 options. And I don't know still what is true. Like, we don't actually know. I don't know if that's just like a spoiler, but we literally didn't get like proper answers, which frustrates me a bit. But it was interesting getting to know her story, but also like not. I didn't really love it. It was a bit weird. So 3 out of 5 stars. It was exciting for like 2 seconds, and then it wasn't. Then the next challenge was to read a YA book, so I just chose something easy, which was XOXO by XOXO. This one is a K-pop book, and it follows a main character who meets this boy in the States, and she's like, oh god, he was cute. And then she moves to Korea for a while to be with her mother and her grandmother, because her grandmother got sick, and she found out that dude she met was in this upcoming really popular K-pop band. It was just the greatest time. They always get a thing. You know, it's a K-pop fan dream book. It was just really fun and cute. I actually did enjoy it a lot, and I thought it had really great parts. Okay, I thought it was cute. So I'm happy I read it. 4 out of 5 stars. The next challenge that Dan dropped was to read a book with a water on the cover. For that I read Summer Bird Blue by Akemi Dan Bowen. As you can see on the cover, it has literally a wave, an ocean. So yeah. And this one follow a main character who is sent to Hawaii to live with her aunt because her sister has just died in an accident. She was really close to her sister, and she deals a lot with that grief and sorrow of losing her, and just has a lot of emotions inside of her, a lot of rage. It's actually quite sad most of the time. So I had some really sad books in here, but it's also just about her trying to find her life again after losing someone in such a way, and it was sad. But yeah, that's basically the plot. It's that kind of story. I had a good time, but I like the setting, I like the characters, it had some really cute moments. But it's like, you know, that kind of book, whereas you enjoy it and you can love it, but like, it's not much more to say, I think. But yeah, I read some quite here where it's quite sad. Why did I do that to myself? I don't know. I didn't even know the plot for that book, so yeah. And then the last book I read for Book Coffee-thon. Not done with this whole thing yet though. It was the scroll feed one. God, I had to think for a really long time. That was basically where you scroll through your social media, whatever you prefer, and the first one you have available, the first one, whatever you could read, you picked. And I did get Iron Widow first, but I couldn't read it because I was kind of reading that for someone else and theory wasn't available. But I did get A Clutch of Steel right after that. For 399 pages, last book for the day. I was exhausted, but I did it. So this is a Treasure Island remix with an Asian setting. We have a main character who is trying to prove to her mother that she can be independent and take over her business. And she goes out on this adventure to find this treasure. It was a good time. It has an Ever romance, which I didn't know. And I like the setting. I like the characters. But I also was a bit bored. Because like not a lot happened like a lot of the time. But I did like the found family aspect. I love being on ships. It's a great time. Being stuck on ships, forcing each other to like each other. It's a bad trope. It's a good trope. I love that trope. But yeah, I ended up giving that like 3 stars, I think. Okay, so we are soon done, I think. But then I did the first chapter tag for the rest of the month because I didn't know what to read. At that point, I had read so much. I was like, what am I going to read? I don't know what I'm in the mood for anymore. So I did the first chapter tag so that I could decide which one sounded most interesting. And then pick from that. And the first one I ended up with was Dan, Spin It On by Elizabeth Lim. I did not have plans to read that this month at all, but it was what was picked out for that video. I will leave a link down below if you're curious to see how that happened. And this one follows a main character who needs to dress up as her brother to go and compete to be the king's tailor because she's a woman and she's not allowed to do it otherwise. And it's a really great time. A lot of spinning of clothes at first, a competition, and then journey quest. It's a great time. I really truly enjoyed it. Very curious to see what will happen in the sequel. And now I really have realized that Elizabeth Lim writes solid fantasies that I really enjoy, that have original ideas and still manages to be fluffy niceness I like from YA fantasy as well, without being the YA fantasy I don't like. I don't know how to describe that. But yeah, now I'm really enjoying this author. So I need to read the sequel to this, and now of course the sequel to the other one that is out. When will I do that? Who knows? But I do want to. 4 out of 5 stars. The next one was South of the Border, West of the Sun by Haruki Murakami. So this one, next one I had to read by Murakami. Basically follows this dude who was the only child, and then he met another girl when he was younger who was also an only child. They connected over this, and it's about his life in the future. It's really weird. It was a short one at least. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. It was not my favorite by his. I think it was just a fine book. So I think I gave it like 3 out of 5 stars. But still like the weirdness from Murakami, it's definitely there. And it is enjoyable, but it's weird. Not necessarily that's a bad thing. It's just weird. And in the midst of all of this, I decided to start Berserk because it finally arrived. So I decided to start with the first deluxe edition. I made a whole reading vlog reading this, so you can check that out if you want to. But yeah, it was truly amazing. It follows Guts, who is a swordsman. And he goes around killing people and is really angry. And then you have to read it to find out why. Check out my vlog for more thoughts, but basically amazing. Didn't think I would enjoy it so much. Amazing to read in this deluxe edition. Give it 5 out of 5 stars. Like, now a favorite, and I'm so excited to continue. So, very happy I started, and will read more soon, hopefully. And then I read Random Boyfriend by Gloria Chow, which was the last one I read from like the first chapter thing. This one just follows a main character who feels like she needs to rent the boyfriend to prove to her parents that she doesn't want to be with this other dude because they're not listening to her. It's all about like finding the bravery to communicate with your parents even though when they're not listening. Also some love story in there, and I did enjoy it, but I didn't love it because like I had problems with the writing, but I did like enjoy the general story and the characters, some fun moments as well. But yeah, I think I give it like 3 out of 5 stars because like it was enjoyable and fun, but not like amazing. I don't know how to describe it. The concepts and stuff was fun as well. Then I read Nightfall by Shannon Messenger, which of course is the next one in the Keeper of Lost Cities, which I'm reading for Keep Along. Our live show is on Friday the 3rd of June, and I'm excited to talk about it with the others. But yeah, for Sophie, who was actually this elf, she's thrown into this world, and there's a lot of secrets and stuff. And I did enjoy this, but I didn't love it as much as Never Seen, which I enjoyed a lot. I think like this one just, I don't know, I feel like the book I'm like blending a bit together, whereas I feel like the same things are happening over and over. While it is enjoyable, entertaining, I love the characters, I just feel like we are in this pattern, and I want to break out of the pattern to make the story more interesting. Well, I do understand it is a middle grade and it's really normal, I think, with patterns in them. I do think there would be ways to make this interesting as we did with Never Seen. But yeah, I did enjoy it, but not my favorites. But yeah, 2 out of 5 stars, I think. And then also read Iron Widow, which was actually my last read of the month, by Shiran J. Shah. This one is also the Face and Gaze pick for the month of May. Our live show should be this week, but we shall see. How to describe it? I follow a main character who is going out for revenge for this dude because he killed her sister. Because when they control these machine thingies, they kill the concubine in there with them every time they use them. And our main character is just volunteering. She knows she's probably gonna die, but she just want to kill the one who kills her sister. This unravels a lot of other things that happens. I don't really know how to describe the book, but it was just truly amazing. I didn't think it was gonna go where it went. I didn't think it was gonna be so good or plot twisty, and just truly a solid book. Yeah, I had a great time with it. So I give it, I don't know yet. Actually, we shall see after the live show, because I always change my mind in those, but just truly a great time. I haven't decided on the rating yet. And then this should be my final book, but it seems like I have forgotten to written up one. So it's actually 35 books, not 34, because I've forgotten to write up one, which I always do. Why do I do this? I do not know. But either way, yeah, Beastars, which should have been the last book, but it's not. Volume 13 by Farah Itagaki, following Beast, who lives like humans in a way, or a human-like society, but they don't need each other anymore. Legoshi is going on this ride, and I'm all there for him, but I also miss the other setting, but I like this new setting. I like the author dare to do something new with the story. I do like that, but I'm also like, oh, I miss the others. But yeah, an enjoyable story, and I am just here for the ride. And then for a book I have forgotten written up on my list, it was The Girl Beneath the Sea by XOXO as well, and this one was the Best Wardathon book for the month. This one follows a main character who sacrificed herself for her brother's wife, whereas she will be the next wife of the sea god, and the sea god is under this curse, and everyone believes that they could break this curse when they are to become his wife. And she believes she's one of them as well, but we shall see if she manages to do that. The beautiful stories that we need to see based on mythology. Why am I losing the book? And I did like not love it completely, but I did win me over by the end, I think. I then ended up really enjoying it in the end, and it was a nice book. I think it was enjoyable. And the best Wardathon was A Direction and Beneath This Direction. So yeah, I think I give it 3.5 out of 5 in the end. Sorry, I completely lost it now. So we're gonna end this video. I hope you enjoyed. 34 books, huh? That's quite a lot. One more than I thought I read, apparently. But yeah, you will see me soon in a new video. Thank you so much for watching this amazingly long wrap up. Leave a big stack of books emoji down below if you enjoyed this, and you will see me soon in a new one. Bye!